morning or good afternoon or whenever you're watching this. Hi. So I'm at work, right? So this is going to be a very quick video. But this is something that I felt would be worth sharing now. So I'm currently working, and I have, my morning rituals in terms of getting myself motivated, reminding myself of certain belief systems that I will need to kind of get through this kind of crazy day. But then also, I'm also interacting with several people at work, and I think, including a supervisor of mine that I believe is Save Your Play, right? And so there was kind of this contrast that I had with him that led me to start to think that the way that play and sleep view time in the objective personality system are probably a bit different. So, what was this conversation? So, I'm trying to do this habits approach, tiny wins approach at work, and the systems are there, but they're way too small to see results right now, right? And so for me, I'm like, okay, that's fine. By the end of the year, I'll get to where I need to be. But kind of one of the emphasis, and this is a good pushback, is like, hey, that's great, but there's certain things that need to be done right now. Like, and you need to push yourself and work hard and do all this stuff. And I was like, and usually I am very reactive to that. I'm like, oh my God, right? But, now that I'm starting to expose myself to what sleep is, I am questioning that now, right? And as I was questioning that, it made me realize that a lot of my motivation in the morning is, first of all, very play focused, but has kind of this principle of time being an enemy, right? So I'm going to share a few screenshots, right? So, for example, on YouTube, Jocko Willink, Sleep Last. Time is running out, right? He has many videos about you need to get up at 4:30 in the morning, don't waste your time, push, 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 work hard, and then, crash, and then work hard again and crash, right? Same thing with Eric Thomas, another person on my playlist. Don't waste your time. Cherish every second, right? You need to push super hard to crush the enemy and all this crazy, talk, right? And then, even with Ed Milet's to a lesser degree, maybe it's because he's a decider, so he's not as worried about that maybe. But, there's also this emphasis of, hey, you need to do it right now and seize the day. And I only get 6 hours a day, right? I'm like, okay, cool. Now, in contrast to that, though, I was like, okay, but this isn't consistent with what some of my other heroes are saying, right? So, take, for example, Kobe Bryant, right, where he talks about, at least when he was young, he had this emphasis of patience. He was always pushing patience, right? So, this is a quote from a video or interview they did with, I think it was Lewis Howes, if I'm not mistaken, where he talks about, hey, there was a summer where I was playing basketball. Now that he was super young at that time, but he didn't score 1 point. And so his solution was not to work super hard, but rather understanding that a long-term view becomes important because I wasn't going to catch these kids in a week or in a year, right? And so he created a menu of things to improve just to get a little bit better, right? And for him, his big thing was, and actually there's probably a quote, and this is one of my docs I'm working on, but there's definitely a quote of his where he's like, hey, show up every single day, do the work, and in 1 to 2 years, right? That's his mindset. In 1 to 2 years, that's when it's going to show results. It's not going to be today. It's not going to be this month. It's not going to be tomorrow. Similarly, right, James Clear, who I'm learning all this, sleep shit from, is, he's very big on time, right? So it's like, if you have good habits, time become your ally. And then, this is not in the quote, but if you have bad habits, time becomes your enemy, right? But patience is an extreme key for this, right? And so, what is going on? Now, I think based on all of this, my conclusion is that just by default, play views time as an enemy. So it wants to expend all this energy so that it doesn't run out of time, right? And that's a huge panic fear that I have on a daily basis. Whereas with sleep views time as an ally, where it's like, okay, as long as I'm moving in the right direction, eventually I'll get there, right? This would be like, this would be the difference between Gary V's, hustle culture basically, and, let's say Dave Powers' 3 wheelbarrows, because 3 wheelbarrows is like, okay, I did 3 things, they were pretty half-assed, I'm done for the week, right? And then he shows up again, over time. So I'm going to show you basically where I concluded in my checklist. This is, again, something that's going to be coming out in the next few days. It's very messy, right? But, I'm going to trust that, by the end of the year, it'll be in a good place. So let me just go ahead and share this. I will put all this stuff in the description, by the way. So this is my personal checklist that I'm making, but in the context of sleep and play, they would be right here. The sleep one has more notes just because I've been paying more attention to it. But as you can see, I have treats time as an ally for sleep, treats time as an enemy for play. And I think in large part, it's because of their approach to energy, right? So if you remember, sleep is partially defined as preserving energy. And more specifically, this is my version of what that means. Sleep is very big on building systems in a way that does the heavy lifting for them, right? So this would be the difference between walking upstairs and going on an escalator, right? This would be the difference between working on your business, right? Improving it and, to the point where it can work without you versus working within it and working 80 hours a week and burning yourself out every single week and not knowing why, right? Whereas with play, again, the emphasis is it's almost like carpe diem on steroids. Like seize the day, seize every hour. Time is running out, and I think part of that, and I don't have notes just yet, but basically it's because they don't trust systems. Play does not trust the system, right? Play is like, okay, if I wait for the system, it's gonna move too slow, and I'm not gonna, I might die tomorrow. That's kind of something I hear from myself and from a lot of play people. I might die tomorrow, so fuck all that. Let me just work super hard, right? But what ends up happening is you burn yourself out, unsurprisingly, because you're not trusting that the system can lift for you. You're not relieving that burden, right? And so that's kind of my conclusion, right? Time as an ally versus time as an enemy. I know for myself that kind of gives me a little bit of relief because literally I wake up every morning and I'm panicked that I'm gonna run out of time. That's like actually an SI statement I say every morning. And so I guess there's encouragement and inspiration in the sleep for me where, okay, even if it takes me 2 years and even if I'm building these systems over time, eventually I will get a reward out of that and I won't have to be panicked anymore, right? That's just my personal takeaway. You might have a different one. But that's about it. I'm gonna go back to work, right? This is a good little, release just to get this out. If you have any comments, I saw some people roll through, I think Savannah, hi. So really appreciate your comments. So if you have any other comments and if you have another way of framing this, this time approach, or if there's another way that you would simplify it, definitely share it in the comments as well. So other than that, I'm gonna head out. I hope you have a great day and I will see you guys in a few.